Be honest, at some point, you've probably fantasized about instantly mastering any skill, like snapping your fingers and boom, you're a pro. Maybe you wanted to land a backflip and become the coolest kid in school, impressing your crush. Or perhaps you dreamed of shredding on the guitar, running like the Flash, or finally nailing that viral dance move from way back when. Basically, anything that would make people go, "Whoa, that's awesome." But now that we're older, our learning goals have changed. Instead of flashy tricks, we crave skills that actually matter. Business smarts, new languages, tech know-how, or sports proficiency. The problem? Most of us are pretty terrible at learning efficiently. And honestly, it's not our fault. School taught us to memorize facts for tests and then immediately forget them once the bell rang. That's not real learning. Learning is about understanding, applying, and retaining information until it feels like second nature. Think back to the last time you tried to learn something, maybe coding, a new language, or playing an instrument. What did you do? Let me guess. You crammed, watched a ton of tutorials, and read endless articles. And then nothing stuck. That's because most of us focus too much on input, reading, watching, listening, when we should be prioritizing output, doing, practicing, teaching. It's like trying to learn how to swim by reading a book about swimming. You might know the theory, but the moment you hit the water, splash, you're sinking. Here's the deal. Learning is a contact sport. You need to get your hands dirty, or in this case, wet. And to make the most of it, let's talk about the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. It says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. So when learning something new, focus on the essentials. Want to learn a new language? Don't waste time memorizing 10,000 random words. Just master the 1,000 most commonly used ones. They already make up 80% of daily conversations. Want to play the guitar? Forget complex solos. Start with the basic chords first. Once you've nailed the essentials, everything else becomes easier. A game changer for mastering the basics faster. Active recall. Instead of passively reviewing notes, actively test yourself. Imagine you're learning history. Instead of rereading the same paragraph about World War II 100 times, close the book and try recalling what you just read. This forces your brain to work harder, strengthening your memory. Think of it like going to the gym. If you just stare at the weights, you won't get stronger. You have to pick them up and put in the work. But don't overdo it. Cramming might feel productive, but it's like trying to chug a gallon of water in one go. You'll be bloated with information, but retain very little. Instead, use the spacing effect. Study for 30 to 60 minutes a day over a week rather than 6 hours straight. Every time you revisit a topic, your brain digs it out of storage, reinforcing the connection. It's like carving a trail in the woods. The more you walk it, the clearer it gets. Of course, theory only takes you so far. You need to practice. But not just any practice. Deliberate practice. That means focusing on your weak spots, not just repeating what you're already good at. Learning to draw? Don't just sketch the same anime character 100 times. Practice hands, faces, and perspectives. It might be frustrating, but that's where real growth happens. Another unexpected trick? Teach what you learn. Sounds weird, right? But when you teach something, you're forced to organize your thoughts and explain concepts clearly, which deepens your understanding. Even if you don't have an audience, just record yourself as if you're making a YouTube tutorial. Knowing that viewers might see your work pushes you to truly understand what you're teaching. Also, mix things up. Your brain loves variety. If you're learning Spanish, don't just read the words. Listen to native speakers, watch Spanish content, write down phrases and say them out loud. Engaging multiple senses strengthens neural connections, like using different materials to build a sturdy house. And don't forget, learning should be fun. Set small, achievable goals and reward yourself when you hit them. Gamify your learning. Compete with a friend, use progress tracking apps, and celebrate wins no matter how small. Your brain loves dopamine, the feel-good chemical, and getting a little hit of it keeps you motivated. One last thing, distractions are the enemy. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time, so put your phone on silent, close unnecessary tabs, and create a distraction-free environment. Multitasking feels productive, but it's just an illusion. If you're half reading a book while scrolling Instagram, you're not really learning. And finally, get enough sleep. Pulling all-nighters to cram is actually sabotaging you. Sleep helps your brain process and consolidate new information. If you don't rest, your brain won't have time to organize everything you've learned. So what's the takeaway? Learning isn't just about gaining new skills. It's about growing as a person. Switch your mindset from "I can't do this" to "I can't do this or yet."